Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly collective reading. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's good to see everyone. As always, we're going to go through a few different sections today. We'll begin off, of course, with all of the channeled messages, and then 7-day forecast, elemental breakdown, and a special topic today. I really liked it. It was a poetic one, so I'm glad you chose it, and it's the Hermit's Lantern. We see that detail all the time, but we don't talk about it that much. And the reason that the Hermit's so beautiful is it really does represent wisdom, light, insight, and yes, a light at the end of the tunnel. So that's the special topic. And well chosen, everyone. Let's look at Apollo before we begin, and then I'll start talking about what I was picking up on. Let's give him a little snack. He's waiting. He looks good. Yes, I know. We'll give you a little greenie, buddy. Yes. There you go. All right. That helps, and I might have to give him another snack because he gets very into our readings as well. Whenever he hears me talking, he's an intuitive little dog. He picks up on the energy, just like children do, and anyone that's sensitive. But anyway, let's talk about the channeled messages. So, as I was walking the dog, as I came back and meditated today, I kept hearing like static, white noise in my head. And I think one of the challenges right now in this moment in time, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life, where you live, but it's like, how can I focus? Because static can come from work. It can come from children, pets, can come from news, politics, all the things that kind of like break us away from our connection to source, to insight, to common sense. And this week in particular, finding a way to disconnect from the noise is going to be really, really important, and find peace, find some quiet. I've mentioned this before because I used to have a really busy work schedule, and I know how it feels to get up early, come home late, and not have a lot of you time. In that situation, it can be the shower or the bath or whatever, like where you just have 10 or 15 minutes. It can be on your commute, wherever you can kind of like collect your thoughts. Not so good when you're driving, but any other sort of space in your life where you can carve out 15 minutes. Give yourself some time to think, like, how am I? How are you? Where are we at? And figure out what you need, and then create some of that in your life each and every day. And I can't remember, it might have been the last sign that I read for Aries, but I said, if not, it was maybe one of the dailies, but it's so important to make sure that there's a little bit of love and a little bit of joy in each day. We can't always go for like this milestone down the line. Well, once I retire, once I have a kid, once I find a partner, once I lose 10 pounds, once I do this, it's like, no, today is good. We got to find something in today. So my challenge for you this week, and by the way, I might try something new at the end. I'll talk about it at the end of this, but my challenge for you this week is to carve out some space each day where you're focusing on loving yourself. It's a fun homework assignment, right? I'm going to do something to celebrate me. Not in an egocentric way, but like, hey, we got through today. Let's celebrate that. Let's do something positive. So that's message one, to kind of get through the static to the source. And also, like, if there is someone that just talks for the sake of talking, we all know them, you don't have to listen. You can tune that out as well. All right. The other thing, let me look here. This was a dream note, so I want to make sure that I got it right. Another thing that came through, it was this sort of idea, the idea of something being premature. So I think the way that they were showing it to me was like a birth, but it's, symbols in spirit are very abstract. So this could be prematurely talking about something before everything has been fully formed. It could be rushing through something before you're ready. So I'd love for you to take your time. I think that the first piece of advice will help the second one. So make sure that you're clear, third eye, cognitively speaking, all the plans, all the details, everything's ready before launching something brand new. So I think that's the main takeaway here. And as we look at the different types of readings that I'll be doing today, I'll try to help us break through the static. So I had a thought, and I don't know which month I'll do this in, but I like the idea of showing up on, maybe I could do it for a week or 2 weeks or a month, and we could do a challenge together. I have time to figure out if I want to actually launch this in It's either going to be September or November. October, I'm going to be moving. So, but I could show up daily and we could work on stuff together. And I thought of that being helpful for everyone. I could make a perk where members could then like chat and then everyone could see the video, but like on the live stream, it would be members. So something like that. And it's kind of a passive thing. If you can show up, great. If you can't, okay. You don't have to sign up. It would just be, I would be here for you. So let me know if you're interested. Leave it in the comments once it's on replay. I might also post just a regular post about it. And again, it may only be short. Maybe it is just 15 minutes to half an hour, like 15 to 30 minutes. So, and that way we can just kind of like set things into motion. So something that kind of came to me over the past day or so. All right, let's get into the 7-day forecast. We'll talk more about everything else as we progress. All right, so let's see. I'm going to use this deck for this. Okay. Close your eyes. Let go of anything that you might be holding on to, and know that you are in the right place at the right time. Everything's going to come together as we are focusing collectively on things right now. All right. I like to imagine a circle of light surrounding my body, so you can trace one in your mind's eye. Call in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters, and let's see what's coming forth. Interesting. All right, I'm going to give Paul one more snack while we're talking, and then we'll get into this. Okay, let's begin with the energy for today, this Sunday. We have the Mirror card coming through, representing, before you move forward, you have to reflect on what's important. I believe this is this is an interesting version of, I don't think it's the Moon card in this one. They flipped a few, but what we're going to focus on is, there are actually two things. We have the Moon, we have inner reflection, and we also have this sort of funeral pyre here, which is interesting because what it represents is, before you can move forward, you have to process the emotions. We often like to bury the emotions deeper within ourselves, and we have to sort of sit with it for a second. And so it's kind of like the Hanged Man. And so in this moment in time, you're asked to stop, to pause, to reflect. This is almost like a combination of 3 cards in tarot, even though it's titled differently. I would say this is a culmination of the Hanged Man, the Moon, and also 6 of Swords, because you have that funeral pyre there as well. So, and this is easy. Like, I think we can all embrace this. You don't have to make any big move or leap of faith today. The most important thing for you to do is to ask yourself, how do I feel about this? And then, why do I feel this way? Is it just the emotions of the moment? Or is it something more? And so we just talked about it for the daily, so this nicely connects with the daily. I mentioned, because we had the 8 of Cups that I pulled for yesterday, like before we go into the deep energy that we look at today. So 8 of Cups is saying take a step back. This is saying take a step back and pause, reflect, and release whatever you don't need. So take some time today to decide, what do you want? How do you feel? And what is the week going to look like? But you don't have to make the move today. You're just collecting your thoughts, okay? Easier said than done. I think we're so used to being judged on progress. We start having that that sort of message ingrained in when we go to school. I know that there are some schools now that no longer give grades, and I think that might be good, because it's not like you really get graded as you walk through the day of your life. We should be doing things because it feels right, because it helps others, because it's productive, not because we're getting graded. So take some time today to do all of that. What feels right? What do I want to do? Reflect and redirect, if I had to summarize all of this, because that's what she's doing. She's holding the Moon, she's holding the Mirror, there's a funeral pyre behind her, so she's pausing, she's reflecting, and she's redirecting, okay? Beautiful card. All right, let's go to the next day of the week. Kicking things off, I actually looked at this horse, I'm like, wow, Monday's going to be busy. So as we go into the energy of Monday, we have the Knight of Pentacles, or Knight of Stones here, and it's just the horse. We don't actually see the knight. So one of the reasons it's good today to pause before doing something big or doing something different is that I feel like if you're not ready, if you haven't collected your thoughts, Monday's going to be discombobulating. Things are going to happen faster than you expect, and you might miss the window if you're trying to recalibrate or to catch up, okay? So in this moment in time, I think it's really, really important to know where you're going. And that's what knights basically represent, is progress and direction. Only you can decide the direction. Only you should be setting the sort of pace for the progress. But suffice it to say, there's a lot going on Monday. And with Pentacles, we want to look at some tangible things. Money, resources, deadlines. This is when you can get a little bit more specific. And use those to inform all the things that we talked about. How far can I go? How fast can I make this happen? Do I need help? And then because it's a knight, you can go out and reach for those sorts of things. Hey, are you interested? Hey, I'd like to do this. Are you on board as well? And get on that horse and direct it. Because it does feel like thoughts and energies might be ambling just a little bit on that day. All right, so we're going to go to Tuesday next, and we have the Six of Cups coming through, which is a very good card. Let's see what's going on with this. All right, so sorry about that. Just had to help Apollo for a second. So Six of Cups, we have reunion energy, as highlighted here. We don't see the two children on this card, but typically this is connected to people that you love in your life. It can be children, friends, siblings, or someone from the past. It's also the inner child coming out and wanting to play. Because I'm referencing that, why don't I pull the traditional card while we're talking? So it's a great day for any sort of face-to-face conversation, for a date. It's also good for resolving any issues that might be coming through, because just like Two of Cups, people are more receptive to what you have to say. That being said, just like most of us don't want to go straight into work mode, if you can soften it with like, hey, let's go grab a coffee, or let's do lunch or something, and then eventually get to what's important, that will actually aid this, because people are looking for a connection. They want to know that you care about them before you immediately say like, I need something, what's in it for me? Here's the original version of the card. And because nowadays we say, you know, it's a moment for you to get your flowers, one thing that I've started to kind of like connect with this card is also saying something kind to someone. I can't attribute it, but I'll post it in my story on Instagram or something. But there was a comedian who was talking about, and I've said this, words are power. I wrote that in my fiction book that I did a few years back. But he actually went a step further, and he said, we're not just saying things to each other. It's like words are spells, too, in the best possible way. Like, I love you, you're casting some love into someone's orbit. So when you say something positive, it's like the best sort of light work that you can do. Use that to your advantage and say nice things and get people's like hearts to open up, and you can then do more together. So really be careful about thinking, I hate this, or I wish harm on this, or whatever, because those thoughts manifest. So let's try to, because we're working with Hermit energy today, and as I was looking at the cards, he wants to shine a light. So he's going to use the power of positivity to help diffuse, to help enlighten, and to help awaken. Words are magic. Use them well. Use them wisely. And here we see the connection of love, friendship, and camaraderie. This is what you want to work with on Tuesday. And then we see things flowing in your direction, as illustrated here in the Wildwood Tarot. Okay? So words and thoughts are powerful, but the actual vibration of them is not to be underestimated. That's why a song can move us to tears. That's why if you see someone start to, their voice quiver, or they break character or whatever, it's like you kind of break a little bit too, because there's something in hearing it rather than just reading it that that ignites something within us. So let's use words in a positive way on Tuesday, and in doing so, you can heal, you can inspire, and you can move mountains. But it all depends on the frequency. Love goes a lot further than hate. Hate is not sustainable. Hate falls apart. Hatred, I should say. It will, in the short term, win, but in the long run, it isn't sustainable because it doesn't inspire. Hope does. Love does. Joy does. And those can usually pierce through hatred because they're more enjoyable, they're more sustainable. All right, let's go to the middle of the week. The Great Bear, aka Judgment, in this particular deck. So it's interesting that the bear is there. I actually like to think of that as more of the universe saying, are you ready? Are you sure? Not a block. This bear may just be like a big teddy bear by the time you get up there. It looks a little scary, but it's just saying, be ready for this next step in adventure. You've worked hard. Get clear on why you're here. That rhymed. But Judgment is cool because it's souls rising up from the dead. It's reinvention, reimagination. It's breaking through a block. So if you're feeling blocked emotionally, mentally, creatively, or if there's a legitimate block in your life, something opens up. Another path reveals itself. So Wednesday is a good day for problem solving. It's also a good day for forgiveness, and it's a day to reinvent yourself, okay? I love that we have the Aurora Borealis. We have Ursa Major, I think, in the background, which is why we have the bear there. And this is saying it's time. Are you ready? That is the main question here, is are you ready? If you are, Wednesday's a great day to set it into motion and to articulate it, okay? All right. Let's take a look at what's coming through Thursday. 10 of Wands. All right, what I like about this one is it shows you just how close you are to the finish line, to the destination. I also like that they accurately show just how heavy it can feel to carry the burden of success, or as they articulated here, responsibility. Take a break, take a moment. Wands, as you know if you watch the channel, is one of the few suits where you can subtract and it's fine. There really isn't a bad Wands card. They're mostly good. The only tricky one sometimes is 7 of Wands or whatever. But with this one, you could take a step or two back and say, okay, I just need to recalibrate, or I need to delegate a little bit. I just need to rest. So rest, recalibrate, and then finish what you've started. This is a great day for travel. It's a good day to work and also, like I said, delegate work to others. So work with others and delegate as necessary. Don't push yourself and don't push others. It's upright, so we're fine. But if it's in reverse, sometimes it's pushy or abusive. We want to be kind to ourselves. This is more about you. So don't be pushy or abusive to yourself. Take your time, okay? Ultimately, I see this as a very, very positive card. It's just a little bit of recalibration that needs to take place on Thursday, okay? And maybe you want to take a trip for pleasure as well, just to like let it all go a little bit. I mentioned that today. If you can't do it today, Thursday would be another nice day for that, okay? Perfect. Let's go to Friday. Also good, and as I mentioned, there's no bad card really in Wands. We can see that here. 3 of Wands, fulfillment. So here's the interesting thing. In the traditional 3 of Wands, the wands are around the person for the most part, but in this one, he's holding a bow, which represents the 3rd wand, which is pretty powerful. Take aim. And things happen very quickly in the 3 of Wands. I just want to pull the card while we're talking. The important thing with Friday is not to limit where you're looking for something or someone to show up, because it could be far more vast than that. It could be happening within. It could be happening here, there. Like, look in all directions and dimensions. Here's your traditional card. One of the brightest cards in the minor arcana. Like, literally, he's watching the blazing sun rise or set, ostensibly rise here. And he sees the ships coming in on the shore in the distance. So what I like is an active 3 of Wands. This one is active. The arrow's nowhere in sight, so he's already set something into motion. It's happening. If you've been waiting for a day, like when should I do it? If you were questioning yourself Wednesday and you weren't sure, if you were still pushing to the finish line like Friday, things come to completion. But it was reversed. So you may ask yourself like, well, wait, I thought it was going to happen here at this time, in this shape, in this form, but it's happening tomorrow, or it already is happening and you're catching up to it. The timing doesn't matter. Does it feel right? And if you think something isn't possible, look beyond the fear, look beyond the expectation. And that will open more doors to help you fulfill your vision. Again, going into what this card shows. And don't be afraid to ask or step into a directorial sort of like position directing that arrow. I want this. Let's do this. Come on. Vamos. Whatever you want to say, like bring people into the fold. Okay? All right. Can't wait to talk about this. But as we look at Saturday first, you're taking care of your emotional self, your emotions and your mental health. So we have the Page of Cups in reverse. It's hard to say things sometimes, like I need help or I love you or whatever the emotional vulnerability is, because we're afraid of being judged. We're afraid of being seen. It's so important, though, to express yourself. So however you express yourself naturally, Saturday is the day to do that. The Otter's usually a playful card. He looks a little cautious here, or I should say a playful animal. So maybe kind of like connecting with others, because usually when I see otters on my like TikTok feed or something, there's always like a group or they're playing with other people. So this would be a great day for recreation or social engagements and doing anything that helps you channel emotions. So art, exercise, therapy, you name it. Your self-care day, and this is the day where we get rid of some of the static that I talked about. Pay attention to where it's coming from, but then do what you need to release it, okay? Self-care. You may take things a little bit more personally on Saturday. Try not to react in real time. You could just say, let me think about that before kind of like figuring out what you want to do, right? So it's a very, very cool Page of Cups. Have some fun, love yourself, and don't take yourself or others too seriously. All right, let's go ahead and see what's coming through on Sunday. All right, so next Sunday we have two very interesting cards. We'll start off with the Wanderer, aka the Fool. I love that she's taking a step towards the rainbow. From that, we can infer that there were some difficult times. There was some stuff that wasn't exactly the way she wanted it to go, but now she's on the other side. And the Fool isn't always just sort of like, how should I put this? Like, it isn't always the very first time. It can be like a wise fool, sophomoric. You've done it a few times, and now you know what you want, how to go about it, etc. So, very cool. To that end, it's how you're approaching success from a different vantage point. So in this Six of Wands, which is bringing you towards the energy of abundance, you've set the stage, but no one's there. We see the bounty of food, but no one's come to feast yet. So success is coming. It's en route. It's already happening within, but the external hasn't yet recognized it. Keep moving towards success and define it however you would like, since the card was reversed here. You get a chance to say who you are, what you want, how you want this to look. And you may be walking towards something that makes sense to you, but not to someone else, and that's okay as well. Beautiful energy here. So on Sunday, you might be beginning a new chapter or phase. It's not going to be fully fleshed out. It won't be like, oh, it's all happening. It's a step in that direction. And in that way, I love the Fool, because you don't have to have it all solved. You just have to keep moving. And, you know, if we look at all of the cards, which I like to do here, it's all leading up to this. So you can start taking the step every day, which is something that I talked about, but it really starts to culminate around this point. So reflect, review, and redirect for today. That's the most important thing. As we look at highlights and lowlights for the week. So I think one of the highlights could be in who you can connect with on Tuesday. And then you have like these recalibrating moments. Like it feels like something's happening faster than you thought, or again, taking shape in a different, it's taking a different shape than you expected. And the best days of the week are when you're kind of like making sense of that. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are pivotal. You just have to believe in yourself. The challenge, the most challenging day is today and next Saturday. So take care of yourself and be mindful of that. But anything that you want done, it feels like the rest of the week is pretty good. I think the strongest day is next Sunday because we have success and a step towards that success coming through. Okay, pretty good week ahead. Why don't we move on to the elemental portion of this forecast? This is going to give us a chance to look a little deeper at all of the signs. Let me just select a deck that I want to use for this, and then we'll begin. Ooh, we already got the first card here. So look at that. 3 of Wands is coming through for the fire signs. Earth, air, water. Okay. Pretty nice mix. 2 upright, 2 reverse. Let's start off with the fire signs first. This looks familiar. 3 of Wands coming through yet again, a slightly reimagined version, and it's 1 step at a time. She's also getting a higher vantage point. So some of you might need to look at things from, again, a different perspective, which we talked a great deal about with the daily card pull that I had posted last night. Also, what I like about this is she continues to reach higher. So it's more of like a personal challenge. It's not like you're trying to beat yourself up or anything, but more like, let's see, maybe I can try this. I'm going to go for it. So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, whatever it is during this week period that you think, I wonder if I can, Spirit saying, yes, go for it. At least try. You're going to learn something in the process. To make your dream or your vision come through, you may need to travel. You may need to put in a little bit more effort, even though you feel a sense of entitlement. That's actually one thing that I see in the traditional 3 of Wands is entitlement. I deserve it. It's coming to me. That's okay on some levels, but don't be afraid also to show up and say, I'm ready for this. So take the steps, reach higher, and know that meeting something halfway could make it happen faster. And also the other party is going to know that you're interested. So things are happening pretty quickly this week. You can expand beyond expected, like your normal energy. Like this is because we're looking at a distance card. You could look to another city, state, country, or province. Travel is connected to this. That could help it happen a little bit quicker as well. Okay. So pretty good energy for fire signs. The takeaway again is it's happening. It's happening now. Let's embrace it. Press start, press play, press record, whatever. Make it happen. All right, let's move from fire to earth. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. More of the same. It is happening, but you're the manifester here. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, a spider deity at the center, representing the fact that we basically reap what we sow. So continue to create something that is going to attract something else. So if you're working legitimately on like a project, if you're going to school, if you're expanding your knowledge, this is the web that calls in your abundance. In the case of the spider, it's a meal, but for you, it's whatever it is that you're trying to attract. Don't be afraid to revise or edit, because we talked about that for the energy of today. A spider naturally does that. Whenever it's captured a meal, it has to go and clean it out, snips it out, and then it re-sews or reweaves that part of its web. So revise, edit, continue to work on something. Talk about money this week if you need to. We're looking at the Wheel of Fortune. So if you need more or want more, or if something doesn't feel right, talk about it. Set it into motion. The Wheel of Fortune, if we take the whole spider metaphor out, is also something that moves. So this can represent moving into a new phase. And it reminds me energetically of like the world, where a lot of times you'll see like 4 different markers in the end. So it can show like a seasonal energy. The next 3 months are going to be significantly different for you. And then you're setting into motion something that could last 10 to 12 months. So we're not looking just at this week, but like a bigger picture for you. Now it's the right time to look at something from that perspective. And if you've been wanting, needing, or lacking in the energy of resources, this is a week where a paradigm shift can take place. But be the advocate, be the one that's reaching out, creating, asking, and then we see like call and answer energy for this. If you're job hunting, good week for that as well. All right, moving on to the air signs. The 5 of Cups. It is in the reverse position, but it is a paradigm shift. So they do a great job on this card of showing grieving. One of the things that we sometimes have to do is to just let something go. Easier said than done, particularly if you didn't get a say in it. Like let's say you were laid off or made redundant from your job. It's like I'm still attached to the title, the people, etc., and it's hard. A relationship, if someone breaks up with you, you're like, I don't feel like I'm in control of the situation. So in those situations, it's a little harder because it's happening. It feels like it's happening to us, but I'm going to help you recalibrate. Everything happens for us, not to us. That puts you in a position of more power because you get to decide, what did I learn from it? I called this lesson, this person, this experience for some reason. I called it into my life. How can I grow from it? And how quickly can I release it? Because maybe this doesn't feel comfortable. The sooner I know the lesson, the sooner I can let it go and move on to better stuff, right? Because we did get Six of Cups, and the Six of Cups was Tuesday. So once you get past this, this is what awaits. Something better, something much better, right? It's already starting to come in. So we have the Two Cups right behind her. Usually there's a bridge too, but she's not ready to cross that bridge just yet. And one of the reasons, by the way, I love this one, and I just saw this this past week because it came through on a reading, but do you notice that there's someone pulling her into this pool of energy? So this could be a family member, a coworker, a friend. This could be the noise around you, which can be your community, the world. There's something sad or something heavy, and it weighs down like an anchor. So what we have to do this week, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius in particular, is to say, that's not fully within my control, or I've done all that I can for you or for that. I have to take care of myself. So she's reclaiming her power. She's focusing on those Two Cups and eventually going to cross that bridge. It's a week of redirecting energy and knowing when enough is enough, right? And I feel like there's something where you've just had it up to here, and that's okay. It's good. It's good to have those experiences because you know what you don't want. And then when something that you want comes in, you're like, gosh, thank goodness. I'm ready for this now. So I feel like sadness, setback, disappointment, and all of these sort of things that are lower frequency, they all provide context. And when the good times come knocking, answer. And it feels like there is a door that's opening up this week because we have the Two Cups in the background. So when good news is knocking, air signs, you've done the work. Take care of yourself a little bit. There could also just be an echo coming through from a past experience. Not nearly as bad this time. It's just like that was a trigger. I'm triggered, but I'm not in it anymore. PTSD basically coming through. Be gentle with yourselves. And we talked about the importance here. So I think for many of you, this could hit like next Saturday because we had the Page of Cups coming through reversed. Whenever that happens, lean on the support of others. All right. But ultimately, it's a recalibration moment, and that bridge shows me something better is waiting for you. Just like we saw here. You also connect nicely with the Fool, the rainbow. You have to let it rain first, but then the rainbow comes through. All right. And finally, let's take a look at water. Okay, I like this. We have the Chariot. The Chariot is in reverse. Some of you are changing directions. It can be that easy. Think of a car that you're cranking the wheel and you're going in a different direction. It can also be someone in your life that's challenging your authority, your decision-making. And if you're confident and sure of yourself, just affirm it. Just say, no, I'm good. Yes, this is what I want. However you want to articulate it. And if someone's trying to make a power grab, say, I don't think so. But you might also be seeking what's next. Let's say you just got through a significant life event. A birth, a death, a graduation, big move. There's a moment where you're like, did I make the right choice and what do I do next? Don't go too far into that sort of spiral of, uh-oh. Breathe, meditate, and take a step at a time and think, now I've gotten this far, what's the next step instead, okay? So direction is important this week, and if you're looking for it, that's okay. From time to time, we're all looking for that direction. But there is an encouragement with the Chariot reversed to take the wheel and to articulate what it is that you want and where you want to go. Okay? Great energy across the board this week. I like what I see for the 7 days. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the special topic for today. So you chose a great one. Like I said, it is the Hermit's Lantern, a light at the end of the tunnel. And I just think it's a really beautifully timed one because it's just been an interesting period in time, has it not? By the way, quick mention here, if you're new to the channel and you want to make sure that you see videos like this again, hit the subscribe button. That way it will come across your social media feed. And by the way, speaking of that, you can also give me a follow elsewhere because I set reminders on all of these social media platforms. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. I'm not going to send you a friend invite. I'm not going to offer you product or service. You know, always be mindful of people that pretend to be other people on platforms. That's how you know it's my full name. Okay, and you can always go to my website if you need more information. That being said, let's get started. I'm ready to see, and I think we'll do a regular spread for this one, you know, with the typical expanded forecast. So let's see a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to use the Light Seers deck on this one. And we have our first card that volunteered. All right. Deep breath. Reconnect with that circle of light that's around you. Welcome in angel, spirit guides, and ascended masters if you just joined. And let's begin. We want to see where the noise is. We want to see the light and the dark. This is a combination of the two. Well, that was a lucky card to fly out of the deck, literally. All right, let's get started. We're going to begin with your catalyst. Okay, so we have a rune here that came through in the reverse position. Communication, and Suze, I think it is. But it says communication, insight, and wisdom. So for some of you, you're second-guessing yourself. I want to pull our, you know, sort of like mascot for today, the Hermit. The Hermit comprises wisdom and insight and everything that we see on this one. And with the card in reverse, some of you are just second-guessing yourself. It almost looks like the Hermit. But don't second-guess yourself. I really want you to trust in what it is that you have to say or do. But if you need to research a little bit, because this card is connected with education, do it. But sometimes we devalue or underestimate or quiet our voices because we think, well, what will someone think? Well, what if they make fun of me? But what if it inspires, connects, and absolutely establishes the connection that you were hoping for? Open up the channel of communication. Ask the tough questions. Be the inner journalist and investigator this week and say, why, how, when? And these are interesting things. Like, so in journalism, you never want to just ask a yes or no. You always want to probe. How did you come to that conclusion? Not just like, do you agree with this? Because you're not going to get anything. So this is a week where you want to go into the how, why, and anything that is kind of a little bit deeper and more probing. Because sometimes people don't think about that. And you might even see that they pause. And it's kind of like that loading symbol that you'll see. They'll have to kind of collect their thoughts. Collect your thoughts and encourage others to do the same. Open up with probing questions, deeper questions. And that is going to help you find your, especially as I was looking at the water signs, when you had the chariot in reverse, it's going to help you find your compass, okay? Let's just look at the whole spread and see if there's any sort of general trend here. So, some healing. For sure. There's a decent amount of people in the room here, not like in this, but like in the tarot room. So we have, I see like parents, a lot of actually like parental or maternal energy coming through, a lot of voices. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Like 5 different court cards. That's a lot of people. Even the High Priestess can be a person. So finding your voice, your vision, yourself in a bigger, noisier crowd. That's one of the challenges right now. So as we go through the individual cards and their meanings, I'll try to help you with that. But the older you get, the more you realize nobody can, well, everyone can, but no one should tell you what your path or your decision is. You're the only one that can kind of make that decision. You have to tune in and think, at the end of the day, does it feel right? Do I want it? Does it resonate? That will help you as you're looking at the little things in your life that you need to make decisions, or the big things. Okay, this card flew out of the deck. Aptly so, because it's one of the fastest moving cards, the Knight of Swords. He's running to a motorcycle and he's trying to catch up to things. He's already fast and something's already taking place. And we saw that there was also another knight that was starting off the week. So I feel like there's just a lot of movement in many of our lives. And you may either be inspired by it, stressed out by it, or confused by it. So before rushing, even though he's upright, I mentioned anytime you get a knight, you need to know how you feel and where you're going, because the knight otherwise can just pull you in a weird direction. One of the earliest lessons I learned when I was driving, and I was young. I just got my permit, I think, but I was getting lost, and I thought, well, maybe if I just keep driving, I'll see something familiar. That was a bad idea. I was young, forgive me. But like, I just got more lost, and this was before cell phones were prevalent, which dates me. But yeah, I had to like stop somewhere and get instructions and use a payphone and call home. And I'd gotten like 30 minutes beyond where I should have. So take that as a sort of lesson. It's better to, like, I don't, even with cell phones, sometimes people don't want to get the GPS or ask directions. Get directions if you need to. In your life, getting directions would connect to talking to a boss, a parent, a therapist, or doing the research and saying, how does this work? What do I do next? Then you will, I could have used that 30 minutes and been home instead of gotten 30 minutes more lost, which was an hour away from where I wanted to be. Case in point, taking a little bit of time can save you a little bit of time. So the Hermit is like, just read up on it. How did someone else deal with it? Just ask, is there a quicker way? Is there a better way? You may be surprised. Then you get there faster. So rushing for the sake of rushing can just get you more lost. So you need to know where you're going. I guess I've said it in as many ways as possible. Also, word travels fast, I should say. So if you're not ready, but you say you are, people are going to take you at your word and things will happen, and you'll have to be ready for that. But if you are ready, the exciting part is all engines are going. So crossing this, we have like a combination of the world and the Empress, because she has the sort of world energy right around her belly, and we see something taking shape. It's figurative here. So whatever it is that you're looking for, like I said, it's birthing, it's happening, it's the Three of Wands. It keeps reappearing now. Ostensibly here also, you should be at the driver's sort of like wheel, turning the ship in the direction that you want. This is a card of control. So know what you want to do, own it. Here's like the light at the end of the tunnel. You've got this. As soon as you say go, it happens on many levels. Take care of yourself, however. One thing that could hold you back from being able to get where you want to go is a lack of self-care. So being exhausted, not eating well, doing too much for everyone but not taking care of yourself. It isn't a sustaining cycle, and eventually you end up being the one that is paying more for that. So do take care of yourself. Here's another light at the end of the tunnel. You've done the work. Queen of Pentacles in the deep past. So more of the same. These two, so we have major cards and minor cards. This is like the ultimate card for being a caretaker, a parent, a nurturer, a creator, a boss. This would be her sister card in the minor arcana, Queen of Pentacles, typically associated with home, with love, with mothers, with birthing, with creating, with nurturing. So I'm getting like double the confirmation that you've done what you need to. Now there's a nuance on this one, and it has to do with money. So you are worth it. Like literally, you can see it in her face. Look at that expression. She's like, you bet I am. I'm worth it. So really embodying that sense of readiness, worthiness, and receptivity. Queen of Cups is a little bit more the receiving energy, but knowing you're worth it and being able to receive it are two different things. So I feel like she's done the work, but she needs to work on that part of it, which is bring it on. She's also holding on to something. And like any parent can tell you, it's hard to see someone that you love, like your child, leave the nest, right? Because then you have time and space that you're not accustomed to. And you also worry about them. So the other message is worry about you, take care of yourself, and let go of something. The space allows something new to come in, something different. It's not a replacement. It's something different. It could be something better. But if we just hold on to whatever it was and never create space for growth, you never know what's possible. So letting go is hard, but it also is necessary and just sort of natural when we look at the whole sort of the way that nature and time and this planet works, cycles. So you're entering into a new cycle, but you're attached to the old one is the takeaway. Let me take a drink and then we'll talk a little bit about the healing here. All right, so 3 of Swords. This, for some of you, is, we'll continue to go back to our mascot. So this may be some of the darkness that shrouds the Hermit. It's either from within or around you. There could be like this sense of discord or disarray, discontentment. And try though you may, you can't heal everyone all the time. There may be some points where you're effective at helping everyone, but really right now go within, because all of that tension and all of that stress also tugs at your heart space. So heal yourself, pick and choose wisely the people around you that you choose to invest time and healing energy in, and then cut the cords. So the heart has all of these sort of sutures, but these things are pulling it away from that. So it's important now to say, this no longer serves me. That exhausts me. I don't feel like this is worth my time. So I'm going to release it. And that's for the air signs. When I got the 5 of Cups, there's some of that. You know you're going to be happier in the long run, but it hurts to do it in the process. But that's what we've got to do right now. So cutting cords, taking care of yourself, and moving beyond an initial disappointment. I wanted it and it didn't happen in the time that I thought, in the shape that I thought, etc. 3 of Wands, though, is a healing energy, says, but something better might be here, something else. So let it out. That cry, that scream, that wail that we see here is important. And then let it go. Letting it go is the hard part, because there could be a little bit of the devil you know. Something causes pain or discomfort, but it's there. And when there's nothing there, then it's you. And we are sometimes... What helped for me is I'm an only child, so I'm okay with my own company. I can exist just fine in a room with no voices because I can keep myself occupied. I work hard. I'm easy to entertain. It's not difficult, but I know that when you're used to a bigger family or when you've always been attached to someone, when that safety net is gone, it's not as easy. The closest I can relate was like when I lost my mom. It took 3 full years for me to recover, because that was like a best friend. That was someone that always had my back. That was someone that anybody that's lost a parent, when you lose that, that's your lifeboat usually. Like your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, whoever it is in your family, we usually have one. When they're gone, it's like, okay, I really have to figure things out because I can't just pick up the phone and cry. I can't just, I have to find the strength within. So I do understand it. It just was a different loss that had to help me connect with that. So that being said, I'm still standing. I'm here. I'm stronger than I was 3 years ago. You learn to evolve. It's not the same. Would I prefer to have not gone through that? Yes. But that's the planet. Nobody lives forever. And that's something that I'm very aware of. That's why every weekend when we do it, it's so important, this reading, because we can make a change in our life. I can make a difference with you. It's worth my time. It's worth your time. Really focus on that. Pain is a teacher. So that painful thing taught me that time is finite. I lost my dad too, and it was the same energy then, but deeper with my mom. It just depends on which parent you're closer to. So I've learned not to take for granted time and not to spend it or spin wheels on things that aren't worth it. And if there's a chance that something could bring about a positive change in your life, go for it. You don't have to have age to have that wisdom, but usually the two go hand in hand. So pain is not something to be swept under the rug. It can be the most amazing teacher and contextual piece in your life that helps you understand and frame up everything else. So we're going to say, thank you, pain. Thank you, disappointment. It's the Alana song, isn't it? Thank you, innocence. All that stuff when she's saying thank you. She was, we may joke about Alanis, but she was very tuned into the spiritual side, which is if I can move through the pain and the disruption in my life, I can come back to a place of strength that I didn't realize. Listen to Thank You, spelled with a U. It's a song released, I think, in the very end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s. And it is spiritual, actually. She's using gratitude to move through pain. And that's what some of us need to do right now. Okay? Okay. Two of Wands. Spinning the map and saying, or spinning the globe and saying, okay, where to next? We've been talking about this. Informed movement, not just moving for the sake of moving. Taking your time and saying, what is this going to cost? What is this going to bring? Why am I going to do it? Giving yourself time to dream, because as we age and get more into adulthood, we don't give ourselves a chance to think, what do I want to do when I grow up? That's not a good thing, because we never stop growing up. It's not like you hit 18 and everything's solved. I didn't know anything. I mean, I did know things, but I wasn't wise to the world at 18. I thought I was in my 20s and 30s. Like, the older you get, without me having to give away my age, the older you get, it's sort of like I've earned every wrinkle, every gray hair. I earned it, right? So give yourself now time to know that you're going to continue to grow up as you go on your path. And so what do you want to do next? That's what we should ask each other as adults. Now what? What's next? But you're still growing up. None of us are Peter Pan, and we don't want to be Peter Pan because that seems miserable to me. So it's like, what can I do with this next chapter that brings out the inner child, that is fun, that is engaging? So she's dreaming, she's deciding, she's spinning the globe, she's making an informed decision, and she's not looking back, thinking could have, should have, would have. Take those regrets and make them bullet points and goals on your bucket list. Okay, could have done it then. Why don't I do it now? Wish I'd said that then. Why don't I say it now? I never did this. Today is a perfect day to begin. You're taking the wishes, or you're taking the regrets and making them wishes. There you go. That's the way to hermit that card. That's the way to shine the light and say, well, I still can do it. What's holding me back? Possibly this. We had the page before, now we have the knight. The card is reversed. Receptivity is blocked by emotional baggage, pain, or noise. Back to the static that I got when I was tuning in. Someone behind, so the horse behind the knight is kind of like neighing and kind of whatever you call that when they're putting their feet into the ground. He's ready to go. But the knight, I feel like there's a little hesitation. Protecting the heart. When our heart is broken, we're afraid it's always going to be broken or it's going to be broken again. Every situation's different. Your heart is wiser now. I know that sounds weird, but not really. The Egyptians knew that this was the seat of knowledge. Love is the currency of the universe. It's the language of the universe. It's the only thing we really take with us. We take knowledge and we take love. The end of the Ghost movie with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. He says, all of the love, I take it, it comes with us, right? They got that absolutely right. Love knows no time. And someone that you knew 3,000 years ago or that you're going to know in 3,000 years, if you're a soul connection to them, that love translates through time. There was like a an article, and I'm like, yeah, of course, finally science is catching up to this. I think it was in Popular Mechanics or something, saying that memories and thoughts also are in that same timeless energy. And so intuition is just a thought that you're setting yourself from the future. It's like you remembering something that you're going to see. It's like future remembering. So thought waves and heart waves, if you will, they go through all the directions, dimensions, and time. So you will know if you need to step into something or if it's not right for you. Trust the heart. Trust that future knowledge that's coming into the heart and into the head. Okay? There's also a line, and I can't remember it correctly, from like Battlestar Galactica, the reboot, and it's like everything, it's all happened before, it's all going to happen again. We're interesting in that we go through these cycles until we learn how to break the cycle. So I'm going to take that Battlestar Galactica thing and turn it on its end, and that's what you're doing this time. You're not doomed to repeat. The repetition happens until the knowledge sets in, which again, hello mascot, is what the Hermit is saying. Have you learned the lessons? If you have, then you don't have to go into the Three of Swords again. Okay? Unless you want to. It's all up to you. Express yourself. Let things go. Put yourself out there. The Knight of Cups is about opening up and releasing the heart energy. We're going to talk about the High Priestess, but I need more to drink here, so hold on. All right. All that I just said is connected with this. Trust your instincts. We question intuition because it isn't scientific, it isn't logical, it isn't predictable. Well, it might be predictable because they're predictions, but we just don't trust it. And that's what happens when the High Priestess is reversed. We know it. We don't know why we know it, but we know it. Trust the knowing. So if you step into a relationship, into a space, and it feels good, good. If it feels bad, go the other direction. If you are about to do if you're about to do something very important, and there's a part of you thinking, I need more time, trust that. There's something from your lifetimes, plural, of experience and incarnation. Everyone that's in this room has lived more than one life. That it's coming through and it's helping you out. And it's saying, no. We did that before. Let's try this instead. So trust yourself. You know more than you think. The only way that you're going to get to that knowledge, though, is to tune in. So are you tuning in? Are you listening? If you're not, why not? The distraction that I mentioned is something that can hold back both High Priestess and Magician energy, because with the Magician, he tries to do too much. With the High Priestess, she's focusing on everyone else but herself. So don't try to do too much, and don't focus on all of these other pieces of advice that might be discombobulating. You know you. I think that's all we need to focus on that. This is a great time for spiritual and creative development. Doing that gets us to our first upright card within the Suit of Cups here in a minute. Sorry, I didn't put the right one. So we have the King of Cups coming through here in the upright position. And the singing bowl, it looks like here, or the chalice is ready to receive. Notice how he is above water too. He's floating above it, or he's sitting on the water. So we can use our passion and our emotions, but we can harness them for the good. And this is what I mentioned songs. You'll experience when you hear someone emoting or singing through their emotions in a song. They captured a moment in time and they project it out and they process it and then they move on. But there's like that little memory of something, and we can all partake of it. That's using your emotions and broadcasting them in a way that's important, rather than letting them kind of like pull you under. So I talked about words and magic and spells. So casting a beautiful spell on the world, inspiring people with love, with insight, with kindness. That's what the King of Cups does. He's like the best partner or boss or leader that you could have, because he's very kind, he's very empathic, he's very tuned in, and he's going to wait before doing something to feel it out. So I really want you to trust your heart. This is in your environment. There actually may be a King of Cups character in your life that is always kind of there, waiting, ready. You might have to tap into that. It could be a Pisces, Could also be Cancer or Scorpio, but we have the little Piscean necklace there. So whoever your King of Cups person is, the kind person, the gentle person, this is a great week to spend some time with them. If you don't have that, like attracts like, so work on being kind and gentle to yourself. I read comments and people will be like, well, I don't have anyone. That's okay. Remember what I said. I'm an only child. I have to spend a lot of time on my own. It's not the worst company. If you can grow to love your own company, our mascot, you'll be very good company for someone else because you're low maintenance. You don't need entertainment. You bring things to the equation. So work on developing things in your life that create a sense of contentment, kindness, and that sort of soft energy that's in the King of Cups. Probably one of the softest sort of energies, and I'm using that like gentle, approachable, huggable versus like King of Swords. Not so much. King of Pentacles, depends. He is very kind and giving, but sometimes wants something in return. King of Cups is there for the feels. So love yourself, connect with things that bring love and joy in your life. You'll attract that King of Cups if it's not in your life right now, okay? That's one thing that maybe differentiates for better or for worse my readings. I was thinking of doing one maybe this week. I don't know if I have the energy today, but maybe sometime this week, just a love reading. But I don't do them all the time, and they don't perform very well on my channel. That's one of the reasons, like nobody watches when I do the love readings anyway. No one chooses the topic. But I really think that by working on your own stuff, the love stuff sort of like sorts itself out, and we look at it in the weeklies and the monthlies anyway. But it's not about your person, it's about you. Your person reflects you. They're holding up a mirror to you. So when you fix yourself, you tangentially kind of fix your relationships. Okay, hopes, fears, and opportunities. We have the Ace of Swords. Listen to your common sense. So we have, it almost looks like the ram's horns on this. Oh. Sorry. It looks like the ram's horns on this, but what's interesting on this one is she also seems to kind of have the whole math meme going on with all the the symbols and thoughts. It's the noise as well. So tune into what matters, tune out to what doesn't. Nowadays, it's kind of fascinating. Unless you drive a car and unless it has an old-fashioned tuner, and no, like most of them are digital now. In the early part of this century, at the end of last century, we used to have to tune the radio stations, right? And when I was a kid, I had a boombox too. So there was like, you would tune and there would be static and you'd have to find the FM channel or AM channel that was clear. So we don't go through that anymore, really. But watch an old movie or a YouTube at how people used to tune radio channels. So this is kind of like what you're going to need to do right now is tune out the noise and say, this one is bringing the most fidelity, the most clarity, this voice, this activity, this thing makes sense. Isn't it interesting how technology is changing so rapidly? Like I've seen videos too where people don't know how to use a rotary phone and stuff like that. So tune into what matters, tune out all of the nonsense, ask a question if you need to. And no is a complete sentence. So is yes. So you don't have to say a lot, but when you say something, make it matter, right? And that's it. And then this is also the sort of probing questions. Why? How? In particular. Because the rest of them are like, when can be one answer. When, how, why, or where did this all come from? You can go back to something. But the how and the why are the two ones that come through as I'm looking at that Ace of Swords. Okay? For the probing questions. Okay, as we look at the outcome here, we have 8 of Pentacles. This is a perfect time for education. This is all about wisdom and knowledge. This card is closely connected to any type of school or education. It does not have to be formal, but it absolutely can connect with the students out there that are going to high school, college, graduate school, whatever. The non-traditional students that are going back after many years. Also just anyone else that picks up a book or listens to a podcast. Anything that expands your knowledge is 8 of Pentacles. It's a great time to do that. I'm learning Spanish right now. I learned it when I was in school. I went through like 3 years of Spanish. I took 4 years of French. I've learned a bit of Swedish as well. But I was pleasantly surprised how easy it was to reconnect with the base of Spanish, especially because I'd coupled with it French. because they're Romance languages. They share cognates. And there's even some cognates with English. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay. It's just the verb conjugations that get a little crazy. But so I'm reacquainting myself on a weekly basis. I take 2 classes a week with a tutor so I can get my speaking skills up. And my reading comprehension is there, but to be able, one thing I take for granted no longer, this is why learning is great. The command of English came naturally because of past lifetimes, but also because of immersion in this place in which I was born. And so all the rules of grammar are hardwired, and I just know when to use things, what to say. And it's a hard language. I'm glad I was born into it. I actually think Spanish makes more sense, but it's hard when you're learning it later because you have to work past your programming. I'm putting another operating system, and it's not replacing it, it's coexisting with it. And it then sits on a larger sort of system where you know and think things, and then the two interact. So language is fascinating in that way. So learning is good. It keeps the brain active. It keeps you understanding new things. And I don't take for granted communication, which came naturally in this lifetime. Because I don't know if I'll ever be, hopefully I will, but I don't know if I'll ever be as fluent. And for those of you that are bilingual, you know what I'm talking about. There was a line in, was it Modern Family, where Sofia Vergara, I can't remember her last name, but she basically said, you don't know how smart I am in Spanish. And I love her for that because she's struggling in English sometimes to get her words out, but that doesn't mean that there's not a super intelligent person that's learning a new language. So this is a really important thing right now because there's so much misunderstanding about well, why don't you speak the language, or why don't you do this? Like, it's really hard when you're trying something new. So if somebody is making an effort and trying, give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that there's a really intelligent person that has gone this far to learn that much. Put yourself in their shoes, and it will give you some empathy. And they'll be so happy that you're kind to them for all of that. So it's really important to give people time, space, and patience because everyone learns at a different speed too. This is also important for children that might have a learning disability or challenge. And it's like, hey, they're going at their own speed and that's right for them. We don't want to make them feel better or worse or compare them to brothers or sisters. So don't compare yourself unfairly. Don't let others do it. Learning is one of the beautiful gifts on this planet, and it can happen to any extent and at any rate. And that's what I get with this Eight of Pentacles. Take a look at your money also, and put things into a budget and a sort of an outline or script, okay? All right. We are ready to expand the forecast. But overall, I have to say what I like here is don't be afraid to use your voice. By the way, that's another thing with this. So one reason that I'm having a really good time, I have a great teacher, and I never feel bad about trying. And I even think like there are certain endings in Spanish words where I'm like, oh, I bet you it's this. Is it this? The verb I bet you would be this. He's like, close, it's this. So instead of me feeling weird, I'm like, oh, I'm actually much closer than I think. This is going to be easy. And if I make a mistake, I laugh. If you can't laugh at yourself, it's going to be a hard life, folks. We can't take ourselves so seriously, and it teaches you don't know everything, and that's a good, humbling thing. Let's expand the forecast and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. All right, we're going to start off first with the energy of health, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit, and let's see what health has to say. Okay, soulmate. Interesting. Okay, this is cool. All right, so with the soulmate energy coming through, you're on the precipice of connecting with someone that could open a door. It could be the King of Cups, and it doesn't have to be love, folks. It does not have to be love. So for me, I was just seeing if he's back there. That's one of my soulmates. He's like the best soulmate. Hey, buddy. Such a good boy. Yes, you are. Thank you. And the reason he's a great soulmate is what you just saw. Unconditional love. Never is he really in a bad mood. He's always happy to see me. He's always happy for a walk. He always loves the treats when he gets them. Easy to connect with. My best friend in this planet easily in this lifetime. So a soulmate can be a pet. A soulmate can be an advisor. It can be a lover. It can be a platonic friend. So let's open it up a little bit. Any of these things can be part of that soulmate category. So what I just showed you there, you could be looking for a new connection in your life. And that was the best investment that I've made in recent years of time, energy, and money, because pets are expensive, especially when I got a rescue and he had some challenges at the beginning. But what that soulmate did for me was open my heart up tenfold. Kind of like if we think of that cartoon with the Grinch Stole Christmas. Like I had a good heart already, but I felt like my heart went out several times. For those of you that have had children or have met a soulmate, you know the same thing happens. Your heart can expand far more than you think, but when you truly find someone or something that loves you unconditionally, then it's kind of like magic and it goes beyond what you expect. So thank you, Apollo, for your gift of love and friendship. This is also a time where you could give back. So one of the ways that you can meet a soulmate in your life is to decide to get involved, to volunteer your time, to be a mentor for others. All of these things can help. It came through in health because it doesn't matter what age we are, we need that connection. Actually, as we get older, it's easier when you're in school, it's easier when you're in work. Because I work for myself, I have to work a little harder at making connections. But as you get older, and unfortunately, not for all, but for some like older men that maybe aren't as open with their emotions, there's loneliness that happens. So it hits on all levels, all genders, all money stratas. Like, take some time to make connections in your life through all the methods that I mentioned. It may not be there. That's why it came up. So if you type, I don't have any friends or I don't have any networks or I work for myself. Okay, we see that. So now it's time to find things in your life, sports, volunteer work, extracurricular things. If there's something that if you want to get behind a movement to change the world, there's so many ways to find like-minded individuals. Now is the time to do that, okay? And Apollo helps me find people because every time I step out the door, someone wants to say hello to Apollo. Very rarely do they say hi to me or remember my name, but that's okay because Apollo is the boss. Okay, so let's take a look at what else is going on with health. So with the Three of Swords, for some of you, it isn't easy. Like, it feels like there might be an echo of something from the past, like I mentioned. So grief and recalibration here. Got it. Now let's go beyond that because I feel like we talked that into the like all the way back and then some. This could also just be taking better care of your heart. One thing that I recently did was like cut out sugar and unnecessary like bread. I just reduced it in my my diet, and also like just anything that might bring in cholesterol, just to get my numbers in a good place. And my doctor said, whatever you're doing, that's great. Work with your doctor. I just got a full blood panel since I'm going to be traveling soon, and I wanted to make sure that I was healthy. I'm doing the same for Apollo. So I did it for myself, for my own well-being. So we can look at the emotional energy with the Three of Swords, but it can also physically be making sure that your blood sugar, your blood pressure, and I know I'm missing something, but all of that, and just your cardiovascular health is where it needs to be. So all of the above, right? And a full blood panel is good because it shows other things like vitamin D and anything else, because there's a lot of things that we don't think about, your platelets, all of that. Okay. So take care of your body, but particularly your heart on all levels. This is a great card for healing, and for some of you, you may decide to do something like healing, like Reiki, for instance, or even like massage therapy, the gentler, subtler forms of healing that don't necessarily involve like diet, exercise, going to a chiropractor or acupuncturist. Could be something a little bit more subtle. So the subtle energy healing is also coming through with this. This is a very sedentary card. So one thing that we might want to do is also just break up the routine and gently get out there and walk a little bit, because we did get the Fool coming through for the 7-day forecast. So just gentle movement is very, very key. I keep getting a bunch of cards with the ears. So you may have tinnitus. There may be a moment since you've had your ears cleaned. Go to an ENT. Sometimes you can have excess wax buildup. There might be an ear infection, maybe some hearing challenges. Like, get that checked out. The sooner the better if you're going through that. And for everyone else, the other thing that I'm seeing here is just to create a new to change up the routine and to create something that you can stick to. Oh, by the way, how could I miss out on this? If you've been thinking of getting pregnant, now is the time where that could happen more quickly, because we have a speed card and then we have pregnancy here. So if you're looking to either adopt or get pregnant, or find a surrogate, like, I'm seeing baby energy coming forth for those that are looking. Okay. All right, let's move on. I'll pull the card, but we're going to talk next about wealth. And we have the eagle coming through for wealth. So this is your resources, life, purpose, and career. And it reads freedom, perspective, and victory. So for some of you, there may be this newfound understanding, like, I no longer need to be in that cycle of working too hard and not getting paid enough, of overextending beyond my reach and having debt, or working so much but not having any life outside of work. So you're liberating yourself from something that was not sustaining. You're getting the perspective, which, hello, is this card here. And you'll be able to get through this. It may not immediately happen, but you're getting there, okay? So we're going to look at this on a few different levels here. I'm going to try to not go too deep in all of them, just kind of pick a couple of highlights for each. So for those of you that are presently employed, are you happy? For some of you, it's a rhetorical question. You may be unhappy and you're looking at the next steps. It could happen faster than you think, but get that safety net if you are thinking of going somewhere else. If you need to stay or want to stay, some of this has to do with not taking it so seriously. If you have security in your job and you know that there's just unreasonable expectations, it's just a perspective of what can be done. So I wish I could go back. I actually just had a conversation with a friend who's stressed about work. And I said, your boss is not going to care in 10 years. You probably, because they may not be with their company. I'm like, you're not going to care. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You're not going to regret missing a meeting or a deadline. And they're not going to say thank you for staying, 50 hours every week and they don't care. So you shouldn't either on some levels. Do what you can. And if you can't get it all done, if you worked and did what you needed to, so be it. I understand the stress. When my first job, my best job, like a long time ago when I was working in corporate environments, I was a contractor. So I was the first to come in and the last to leave. And I think it was illegal because they only paid me 35 hours a week. But it doesn't matter. I'm beyond that. So I was putting in an extra 15 hours a week unpaid because I needed my job. But my health suffered. I got really sick. And I eventually left and they never hired me and it didn't matter. So I wouldn't do that again. And there were other points in my life where, like when I was taking care of my sick father, helping my mom one weekend, they kept buzzing me and asking for stuff. And I eventually, it was bold, but I quit like 6 months later. I took a picture of my dad who was really, really sick. I said, I have another thing that I'm focusing on right now, and radio silence. So I was learning as I went through the process, but earlier on I was taken advantage of, or I let myself work too hard. They don't tell you this in school, and you're not going to hear it at work. But work only as hard as you need to if you're in a situation where you're not getting what you should. Keep your job, but look for other opportunities where you're going to be rewarded more, because that's not good enough. But we all have to work jobs from time to time, myself included, where you're putting in the effort, but you're not getting what you need. That is usually the tipping point where I'm like, okay, I got to start looking for something else because this isn't paying anymore what I deserve. And it's happened multiple times. Very few of us are lucky enough to always have what we need and love what we're doing. But when you reach that precipice where it's not worth it anymore, it's time to think. So for some of you, you're thinking of either how to level up or to level out. And that's what I'm picking up on. So in either end of that spectrum, I said I was going to go light, but I didn't. It's okay. Whatever needs to come through, comes through. I timestamp this. Wherever you're at on that, make sure that you're okay. It's a great time to go back to school. Absolutely. It'll pay off in the long run. It may not happen immediately. It could be next year, for instance, with the Two of Wands. Don't do it without asking. Ask the question, have we thought about this? Why are we doing this? How are we going to pay for this? Always ask the questions. You're more creative and more talented than they may be giving you room to show. So again, finding ways to express that in your life is important. Moving on to entrepreneurs. So someone the other day in the comments said, why don't you look at artists? I would actually see artists as part of this, because if you're work for hire, that's entrepreneur. So freelancing, contract work, if you're not hired by a company, it would be under this sort of entrepreneurial umbrella. But you're somewhere between the two. I just can't do a sixth category because we'll never get through all of these. So I would say listen to a little bit of both of these, because one of these may make sense, because you can be freelancing and work for yourself if you have an LLC. Okay, so if you own your own company or you're quasi-employed like I was talking about, here's what I see. You may be taking on some projects that you don't love. I can see that. I think it's important to try to schedule further out if you can, or to ask the people that you love working with, hey, well, I could offer a slight discount if we add in an extra 6 weeks or 8 weeks. It's good for both of us. I can calculate this much of a discount, or we can do a project rate. You can make it work for the two of you so you don't have to take on this kind of work. For everyone else, for entrepreneurs, if you're producing a project, or a product rather, that you don't like, I think it's important to start to figure out, like, why am I doing this? Is there diminishing returns? Is there something else that I could be putting my time and energy into? So you may be cutting out something that is underperforming. Like, again, you're putting too much cost into manufacturing it, but you're not getting it back. Creativity is important, and sometimes it's like things are getting just thrown out into production, cookie cutter. Make sure that you're not losing the special touch that makes your brand unique. And so when working with a distributor or production company, making sure that you have enough view into the production process so that quality assurance isn't lacking, and also so that the product or service still feels like you. Invariably, when a company merges with another, they're like, oh no, don't worry, it's going to stay the same. 3 to 5 years down the line, they usually end up usurping that other company brand and just putting their own. Then they realize it's a mistake, and then they try to bring it back. But customer loyalty is like, so long story short, just make sure that when you find distribution, that the quality is there, and that you don't enter into one of those buyout things where the brand loses its luster, okay? Very specific but interesting message that came through for entrepreneurs. Okay. Take some time to get some perspective. So making sure that you're not just going from one launch to the other, 1 year to the other. Like, again, figuring out, what are we doing next? What else is going on? Are we keeping pace with the competition? Okay, that's pretty much everything there. Job seeking. So there is fear. For some of you, the wounds are still a little bit fresh from something that you've just been through. Disappointment, overworking, etc. I do think it's really important as you look in a new place to make sure that you like it on some levels and that you are appreciated. It's not always going to be, rainbows, unicorns, and everything that you want. You may have gone from a really high-paying job to one that may be a little bit less, like maybe it's even 20% less, but you can afford it given what you're needing to put out in your budget, and you're happier. So you might be looking at levels of responsibility, a management role versus a production role, because I don't want to have to tell other people what to do and have them yell at me and all this other stuff. I just want to have this much work, this much time, and this much freedom. So you're weighing out those options when you're job seeking. Can you find something? We have one option, and ACE is pretty good, but you have to ask some questions around definitely the bottom line, how much you're making, but also the job satisfaction to get an understanding, will I be happy here? Maybe also talk to previous employees. I do see a difference from what you expect and what you want, and it might be like in that realm of 20%. You have to look at your budget to see if that's right for you. We're just looking at 7 days. And I've been doing longer term readings. So for those that are job seeking, everybody should have their September and October reading. How's that for a change? And it's funny, like when I go further ahead, they're like, it's too long ahead. I wish it was just, I'm like, I can't make everyone happy. But also for 2 months at a time, I might still do a 2-month one because I'm going to be moving in October. And so know that once we get to next year, I might go back to the monthlies, but I need to do the 2 months for now. So rather than complain, maybe embrace the fact that you're getting so much and you can really map it out, because it really is helpful if you're trying to make a life change. You may have up to 3 months or 4 months that you can look at which on my channel I don't think I've ever had. So I'm trying new things. Let's try to embrace that. People are sometimes blunt saying, I hate what you're doing, or I don't like this. I'm like, okay, that was harsh. But also, like, there's a blessing here where you get to see 60 days at a time. And that actually is really good for the type A people that might enjoy planning. So I'm just happy to be ahead for a change here because it's been a year. So thank you, everybody, for giving me that time and space. All right, let's move on to students. For students, let's see what's going on for you. Stress management. Some of you may be homesick. I get it, especially if it's your first semester. You may miss a boyfriend or girlfriend. You may also be in a relationship, and that is the noise that I talked about earlier. So heart-centric energy came through loud and clear, you know? So take care of yourself. Just like I was talking, I love what someone's saying in chat. You can't make everyone happy. I really want you to focus on finding some happiness for yourself. Right now, I think it's going to be very important. And what I do like about all of this is you're learning. So the learning is still a part of this, but the distraction is very much apparent here. So call home if you need to. Focus on student life, making some new friends if you need to. Look at why you're working so hard, why you decided to do this. Recalibrating and saying, in 3 years, in 2 years, in a year, I'm going to be here, and that is going to be well worth it. I feel like that's the most important thing right now. Also, if you want to do something, do it, even if it is a little bit unusual. The High Priestess is very creative in that respect, right? Okay, retirees. So for many of you, this is like, I actually get liberation here. The Empress is like the universal mother for everybody. But I feel like someone here is going into that energy. It's definitely leaning into the freedom part of this. And you're saying, I can't wait to try something different. I'm so happy for a change that I don't have to be everything to everyone, right? Good for you. What I see opening up to you is, interestingly enough, new friendships, looking at the world from a perspective that you didn't expect, and a little bit of soul searching, like what now, what next? And those are the probing questions. It's a great time to ask others, like, how did you get through this? What are you doing? Because other people have been through transitions in their life. And I feel like you're going to be fine in this as well. Have some fun with it. This is a period to really lean into creative and spiritual endeavors. Education, like I said, I'm at a later point in my life where I'm reacquainting myself with it. I learned it, like for me, again, Spanish. When I was very young, there was a pilot program in like the first grade where I was exposed to it. And then I did it again in the 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. And now, much later in life, I'm going back to it. And so like it's never too late to reconnect with something that you've either learned or wanted to learn. And now you can do it. One thing that I find as you're older, things that were hard for me then, I just get past now. I'm like, okay, we need to learn this. Let's just study and let's just practice, and it's not going to be hard this time. So sometimes you just have to psych yourself into that too. You're never too old. Okay, let's move on. Love and relationships. This one we have to go a little bit lighter, but let's see. Okay. Are you open to receive? I love that we actually see some healing hands on this card. So you could be open to receive healing or love or support from others, but you might also be open to receive that sort of kindness and love from people in your life too. An Ace of Cups only works if it's not, like if it's completely empty, it's sort of saying like, I need you to fill me up. When we have the Ace of Cups overflowing, it's like, I've got more than enough. We kind of want to get there, but you're open to receive even more, like the cup could get bigger if you wanted to. That's how I view this. All right, let's break this down into a few categories. I need to open the window for a second because someone cooked something in another apartment and it's coming through here. All right. Okay, so starting off with those that are currently partnered, here's what I see. We are automatically seeing that for some of you, there may be a new child. You might have just moved in with one another. There's something new, something big that's entering into your life. Give it time to set in. And like both of these are parental cards. So you might be first-time parents, or you're just cohabitating for the first time, and that's a little bit much. You could be on the heels of an argument as well with the Three of Swords, or a difficult life experience, loss, transition, or disappointment. It's very much in the past, though, but it's just working through some of the remnants or echoes of that. Make plans for one another, with each other, rather. This is a very sexy card to pull in a partnership reading because it's saying, I'm thinking about you, or I remember that you wanted to do that, or how about we do this together, or what do you want to do? I want to take a trip with you. It's joint planning where both interests are taken into account. You or your partner, it's a little bit of give and take here. So we have the Knight and the King. The Knight is needing to let go of some stuff. The King is holding space. So you might just be holding some space. It is in the environment. Your partner may be holding space for you. If you need to sort through some stuff, it actually is quite courteous to not put it all on them and work with someone else and then come back once you've figured out what it is that you want and need. Be mindful with Three of Swords and then the Ace of Swords in reverse. One little sharp comment can really get under one or both of your skin. So you just need to bite your tongue and ask. So we're going to go back to the most powerful thing. And it is the nicest thing, which is to say, like, to ask how they arrived at a question rather than to judge them for their decision. Say, oh, wow, okay, I didn't know that you were doing that. Why did you do that today? Or what, like, help me understand what's the driving thought here. Why are you doing this? Because then if you find out the why, then you can understand if there was something that you didn't know before saying something that is insensitive or too abrupt without knowing the full picture. Ask why, how, when, all those sort of probing questions first, and it's not like an interrogation. Just say, I'm so sorry this is going on. How did it start? What are you doing now? What do you need from me? That's the most important one. What do you need from me? How can I help you? It's actually a little bit better because you're already saying, I intend to help you. How can I help you? And if they say, I just need you to be here. Okay, easy. I'm here. So ask. Rather than judge or say something, it's the difference between opening your heart and biting your tongue. All right, let's move on to single and looking. Single and looking, can you find someone? Almost too many options here. Yeah. I feel like some of you might be pressured. This single and looking, like we have Queen of Pentacles and the Empress. This is mom, grandma, grandpa, parents coming in and saying, why haven't you found someone? You may also be single and looking, but not wanting to get hurt again. Take some time to heal. Be patient. I see water sign coming through for you. Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer energy coming through. You may have to initiate the conversation because I do see a passive energy here. But if you're single and looking, what's the rush? Is there a rush? Do you really need this right now? Leave the past in the past, especially since this Knight of Swords, this Queen of Pentacles are connected with the Three of Swords. Leave the past in the past. We have an overwhelming amount of water energy that wants to come forth. So it looks like there might be a water sign coming through. But it's also just saying, trust your heart, okay? Enough said. Single and happy? Congratulations. If you're single and happy, there is a lot of creative and intuitive energy that comes through, almost so much that you don't know how to capture it all. This is downloading it to paper or to some form that you can record. So this is a very productive flow here. Also, like for the entrepreneurs that also are single and happy, you can get a lot done during this period of time. Take advantage of it, tap into it, embrace it. All right? Now, let's go on to Destiny. And then I'll pull a reader's choice at the end to see like what is the light at the end of the tunnel. All right, so for Destiny, you've got this, folks. Part of luck is just believing it will work out. I can do this. My mom, long before she ever knew that I was interested in metaphysics or reader, she had a reading when she was young, like in her 20s. And the person said to her, you may not always have everything that you want, but you're always going to have enough. You're not going to suffer too much when it comes to money. And she believed that. And I believe that the belief in that prediction was self-fulfilling. So she never had way too much, but she had enough to provide for herself, just enough towards the end. But sometimes believing is creating and seeing. Even just saying it could make it happen. You know, I love that line from Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill. Or no, that's Cloud Busting. So just saying it can make it happen. Just believing it can attract it. Luck, I believe, is sometimes self-fulfilling. I'm lucky. Therefore, this will work out. So I want you to try out the mantra. I'm lucky. I'll make this work. Good things are about to happen. Because it can and should be self-fulfilling, but you have to believe in the luck. So there you go. That's not to say that you take wild risks. That's saying, like, as I move through this, I believe I'm going to have the intuition, the resources, the synchronicities to provide and to help me navigate. That is what I see luck as, being able to be supported in the journey, not going into Vegas and pulling, one of the slot machines and winning. That's pushing your luck. But believing that you have the ability to identify, open, and connect with synchronicities. That's really what we're talking about here, okay? And you are destined for better luck ahead. I think we can all get behind that. All right, because we have a special topic today, let's just make sure that we've answered the question. I want to see two things. We actually have a card on the side that already identified itself. All right, so we're going to look at three things here. But what's the tunnel? What's the darkness? What's the light? And then we have a clarifying card at the very beginning. So the card that identified itself was Six of Swords. So you're already halfway through this. You may not know it. So we have 3 crows in front, 3 behind. She's on a ship. She's taking a journey. But it's kind of like you're in the liminal doorway and you've got 1 foot and in both spaces. Just finally deciding, let's do it. That's part of this, okay? The shadow energy is overthinking. Page of Wands in reverse. It's all the stuff that happens with this. Maybe this isn't going to work out. I'm going to do this. All those little thoughts that are just questions instead of this, which is, I'm ready for some really good things ahead. So start to focus on the luck-oriented possibilities energy of the Page of Wands. And as you step into new things, really make sure that it does spark that sort of intuition and that energy that's part of the Page of Wands. And then the light at the end of the tunnel is we do see a period where you can take a deep breath. King of Pentacles represents putting down some roots, being able to create, to foster, to sit with something for a minute. So if you've been pinballing around for a minute or two, it does feel like you're headed to greener pastures here with the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles rolls up his sleeves though, and does the work. Like I would picture him, if we look back into Pentacles, he's like the grown-up version of the Seven of Pentacles, which is a gardener, right? He planted the seeds. He got his fingernails dirty. He pruned the roses. He did all of the work. Now he can sit back. So keep doing the work. You may be in the Seven of Pentacles, but what we see is the goal of the King of Pentacles, right? And the Six of Pentacles being somewhere between all of that, which you need. Or you're planting the seed in the Ace of Pentacles. There's so many good cards in that suit that require work. Making a choice, which is the Two of Pentacles. So going to school, Three of Pentacles. It's all work. It's a work suit. It's progress. It's blood, sweat, and tears. So you've done enough of the blood, sweat, and tears, though, okay? Now it's time to reap the rewards and put the energy on that and connect with the energy of love. And most importantly, if we go back to our mascot for today, the Hermit isn't afraid to lead with light. Say, wait a second, have you thought about this? I understand that you're feeling this and this, but like I think we could look at this from a more elevated point of view. You won't really use that word because it sounds pretentious, but like I think we can find a better way. That's one thing that you can even just say, let's try harder. I think there might be another thing that we haven't explored. All right, friends, that was the beautiful Hermit's Lantern. Thanks for letting me read that. That was really nice to go through. That's one of my favorite cards is the Hermit because he's like the wizard. He's magical. So find a deck that you like, look at the Hermit, connect with that, know that you contain wisdom and light. We're all made of star stuff. You can see he's carrying the star in his lantern. And so eventually you're going to be ready and able to move into the next thing. All right, we just got through the reading. Yay. All right, before I step into the next portion, a reminder that I'm here because of the support of people just like you. All of you that showed up, thank you. You can show some love and support by liking, subscribing. If you want to become a member, you can do so by clicking the join button. You can also give me a follow on social media. All right, let's take a couple moments to express some love and gratitude. Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. Let's take a look at everybody that participated today. welcome to all the following members and stickers here. I'm going to pull it all together. Valerie, thank you for being a channel member. Colette, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate that. G, thanks for the sticker. Heather, thanks for gifting a membership. Popcorn, thank you for the kind comment here. Let's see. I wish you on your luck on your interview and it went well. Good for you. I'm happy to hear that. You know what? You got the luck card today, so really own the luck. I really do believe luck is self-fulfilling, and we all have the luck and the capacity to make some positive strides. So whatever anybody out there is going through, I want you to realize we got judgment at the middle of the week. I remember that, like Wednesday, and you got the luck card. So just imagine that you're turning a new page, especially as Wednesday comes through, okay? All right, thank you to the following people for gifting memberships here. Popcorn, Deborah, Deborah again, gifting another one. Jan, thank you. Welcome to Janet. Welcome, well, I should say thank you, Sharon, for 1 entire year of membership. I'm glad that you enjoyed these get-togethers. Me too. Shelby, thank you for gifting a membership. Raven and I think it's Nikki or Nike, thank you so much. Linda, welcome to the channel here. Bernadette, thank you for gifting 5 new memberships. Let's see. Paula, thank you for being a member for 35 months. Get out of town. You're the best too. I appreciate you showing up every week. Kristen and JJ, thanks for the stickers. Same to Janet and Yolanda, Jeannie and Allison. I think I got everybody there. And then welcome to all the people that were gifted a membership. Just for the sake of time, I don't always go through that. I try to do the ones that, you know, bought the stickers or the memberships or joined. So thank you. And I think I've gifted all of mine for this month. I'll double check while we're talking. But in the meantime, quick reminder, again, if you are looking for any of the monthly readings, they're all up on the main channel page. So take a look and enjoy. Yeah, I think I did for this month, do all of that. And I will be starting the next round of readings this upcoming week. And maybe I will do a love reading. I don't do many of those, but I know from time to time that some of you enjoy that. So yeah, we are at everything here too. Okay, good. Oh, also thank you so much for PJ that just gave a sticker as well. All right, Apollo's resting, so I'm going to let him be. Lots of love and light to all of you. I'll keep you posted as I get closer to the move date. One thing that I am going to need to do is gently and not too far in the distant future break down my office and my space around me. So I'll probably have this for most of July, but the end of, I'm sorry, most of July, most of September. But then at the end of the month, I'm going to probably need to have a smaller, I won't have as much equipment because I'm going to have to ship it so that I have it when I get there. So just setting up that expectation. I might even be seated at my island because I might have to get rid of my table and all of that. So the last couple of readings will just be a more cozy setting, and then we'll be on an adventure together. All right, here's to new chapters, and thanks for being with me for 10 and a half, almost 11 years. We'll see what the next 10 years bring. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.